Hey, what's up, stock compounders? Brad here from Asheville, North Carolina. So today I want to talk about my experience as a customer of Carvana. I'm not going to get into the investment thesis or anything like that behind Carvana in this video. I'm really just going to try to give you some insights about Carvana that I got as a customer of the company. Hopefully, to help you find where you might need to do more work if you're considering an investment, or if you already have an investment, what maybe requires a little bit deeper digging. So why did I choose Carvana, right? There's plenty of places to buy a car. The reason I chose Carvana is because, first of all, I was set on buying a Toyota Prius, okay? The thing about Toyota Prius, once you've had one, once you realize how incredible the fuel economy is for a Toyota Prius, assuming you don't want to show any ego through your car, there's no revving the Prius engine, there's no spinning the tires, all that stuff. For me, it is really about how do I get from point A to point B in the most cost-effective way possible. And it is tough to beat the fuel economy of a Prius. Now, you can do it if you buy some kind of electric vehicle, but my assessment of where electric vehicles are, they're just not quite where I want them to be in terms of what they cost versus how far you can go on a charge. They're not quite there. I do definitely plan on owning an electric vehicle, probably within the next couple of years, maybe 3 to 5 years, but we're not quite there yet. So I wanted a Prius. My first go-to was Craigslist, right? What private owners are trying to sell their Prius? There is very low inventory on Craigslist, at least in my area, around Asheville, North Carolina. Very slim pickings. And, being a dad of 2 young kids, just settling into Asheville, it's hard to go 3-4 hours to check on a Prius, right? To find a time that works for the seller, to bring it in, to have it inspected, to do all that. It's just very difficult for where I'm at with young kids. So the convenience of Carvana, where the car is delivered directly to me, it offered a lot of value that I wasn't finding, certainly on the private seller side. Of course, there are dealerships as well. Dealerships will often deliver a car. The problem I was finding with dealerships, so there was a great Prius that I had my sights set on. I think it was like 2 hours away. Looked great. I reached out to the dealership. I said, what's the all-in price for this car? The sticker price was like maybe $17,000. I'm thinking, okay, what is it actually going to be out of pocket to drive away with this car? I was shocked when they came back with the price for me. The price they gave me was about $5,000 more than what they had advertised on cars.com. So, and I go back, I say, that's a lot more than what it was listed for. What's the absolute lowest price you can give me on this car? And I think they took like $500 off. They had added a bunch of bells and whistles to the car, different, paint coating, all this stuff that I didn't need. And so they reduced the price to their cost, so they say, which was from $5,000 more to $4,500 more. And at that moment, I realized I do not want to deal with dealerships. I mean, they're just so not transparent, right? And that's another beauty about Carvana. They say right on their website, as they're calculating the price of the vehicle, there's the vehicle price, there's tax, title, and registration. Shipping, sometimes shipping is free. In my case, shipping was free because the car was fairly close to me here in Asheville. And then there's a line, bogus fees, and it says never, okay? And that's a big value add that Carvana brings to the table. is they take, that used car salesman, snake oil salesman thing right out of the equation. So I really appreciated that about Carvana. So really I went with Carvana because they had the inventory, okay? I couldn't find it with private sellers. Dealerships I just don't want to deal with. And Carvana had a great amount of inventory. The beauty is they have cars all over the country, right? And because they have that economy of scale, they can ship the cars around the country seemingly quite affordably. So that shipping fee really gets driven down. You can shop all over the country and it's usually not, cost prohibitive to buy a car from California, even if I'm in Asheville, because they're able to have those economies of scale. So that's why I chose Carvana. Let's go a little bit through the process. What is it like to buy a car through Carvana? So first, you select the car. Okay, they have their website. You can search by year, make, model, mileage, all that stuff. So I ended up with a 2014 Toyota Prius C. Now that was a mistake. I had never driven a Toyota Prius C. I've only just had the Toyota Prius, the kind of full-size model. When the Prius C got here, I realized this car is too small. It's not suitable for a family of 4. So that was my mistake. I should have test driven a Toyota Prius C. But I'm getting ahead of myself. So the first step is you select the vehicle. And you can look at a Carfax report for the vehicle. They've done inspections on the vehicle. They've taken pictures of all of the, cosmetic defects, other defects. Okay, it looks like they've actually done a fairly thorough job of inspecting the vehicle once they take inventory of it. So you select the car. The second step is to make a payment. Now this is one that rubbed me a little bit the wrong way. There's a number of ways to make payment to Carvana. On the checkout screen, they basically said, you can link your bank account, right, by entering the account number and the routing number like what you'd find on your check, or you can log in to your bank account using this third-party site that we partner with, and that's faster. If you do the first one, the whole verification thing where we have to deposit 2 small amounts in your bank account and then you tell us what they were to verify, if you do that, it can delay the delivery of your vehicle because that can take up to 9 business days or something like that. So with that, I was like, okay, I don't like logging into my bank account through these third-party sites, but I'm going to do it. So I did it. And then when I got to the other side of that process, they said, if you do it that way, it could cause delays. What you really want to do is either a cashier's check, where you get a cashier's check from your bank, you take a picture of the front and back, that's the fastest, or do a wire transfer, okay? So it felt a little bait and switchy. Initially they said, hey, log into your bank account, that's going to be the best way to make payment. And then once I get on the other side of that, it's like, well, actually you probably want to do one of these 2 things so you don't delay the delivery of your vehicle. So we ended up doing a wire transfer, which I kind of get why they did it from a business perspective. If they had come right out and said, hey, the best way to make payment is through a wire transfer or a cashier's check, there's some friction to that. Much more friction than just logging into a bank account or giving them your bank account number and routing number. In reality, it's not that much friction. It's still easier than what my other options would have been. But in the moment, psychologically, it may have felt like kind of a big hurdle. And that may have been the end of going through this process with Carvana. So I see why they did it. and it feels a little bait and switchy to me, at least it did at the time. But that's what we did. We did a wire transfer. So that's the first part, make the payment. Now, next, they make you do a few things before they deliver the vehicle to you. So you have a few tasks to complete in this 1 week window that it takes for them to deliver the car. Usually it's a week, sometimes it's a little bit longer depending on where in the country that car is coming from. In our case, it was coming from, I think, Wichita, Kansas, which isn't super far from Asheville, North Carolina. So the things you got to do, proof of insurance, which really isn't that hard. I had my car insurance through Geico. I just logged into my Geico account. I added that vehicle using the VIN that I got from Carvana, and that's about it. It was that simple. And then I was able to, save a PDF of proof of insurance and upload it to Carvana through their website, which no issues there. It was all very straightforward. If I were my parents, or maybe even a generation older than that, that may have been more difficult, even though it's fairly intuitive for my generation. So I am curious, for older folks, how that process is, whether that can be even more streamlined than it is now. So proof of insurance, that was really the main task to complete before it got delivered. Fairly straightforward. You also had some documents to sign, the contract, things like that. There was a 7-day, no questions asked return policy. Okay, so you basically get to test the car for 7 days. Now, this was a big selling point for me because whenever I buy a car, I really want to have it inspected. In fact, I insist on having it inspected by a competent mechanic who's not associated with the party that's selling me the car. So in this case, when I got my second Prius, the first one, the Prius C that was too small, right away when we got that, I was like, okay, we're not going to keep this car. It's too small. So I didn't spend the money to have that one inspected. So after that one got swapped out for the bigger Prius, the 2010 Prius, right away I went and had it inspected at a Toyota service center. That was $160. It took a couple hours, say 2 hours. And the cool thing about this Toyota service center, as they were inspecting it, they made a video kind of walking through their inspection. That was really cool. Just a couple-minute video that they emailed to me. And it was fun to be able to see kind of what the inspector was looking at. But it passed with flying colors, no issues at all with this car. So that was really all I needed to know, okay, this is a keeper. So after that 7-day return window had ended, that's when the registration process starts, the vehicle registration. So the car came with a 30-day temporary operating plate. Now, I was a little bit concerned about this piece of the process. Would Carvana, a party that's not the owner of the vehicle, right? They're transferring ownership to me. Would they be able to register my vehicle for me and get plates and all of that? But they did. A couple days ago, my plate came in the mail with the registration, and there was a small kind of hold on the registration where I had to pay the property tax on the car to the DMV. So I just logged into the DMV website. I think it was like $104 to pay the vehicle property tax for North Carolina. And then I have registration valid for 1 year from that date that I received it. So the registration process was very smooth. I was very pleased with how that all went from Carvana. I think they overnighted my plate after that kind of 7-day return window had ended, and they, finalized everything with the DMV. So that was seamless. What else do I want to say? So it was interesting chatting with the guy who delivered my car. I think it was the Hendersonville, North Carolina location. There's a Carvana location there. And so he delivered my vehicle on kind of a flatbed truck. And I was chatting with him a little bit towards the end of the process of signing all the documents. And I was asking, hey, the Carvana stock has really tanked. Curious what your take on that is. And a couple of things he said. One was Carvana is trying to solve some really difficult problems. And one of the challenges that they're facing, well, one is they operate in, 48, 50 different states, all, dealing with different government agencies that tend to be very slow. So one of the issues they're having when they take ownership of a vehicle and there's some kind of lien on the title, right? There's a debt that needs to be paid off before that title can be cleared. They have no problem paying off the lien holder, but what's taking a very long time is to get that clear title from the state that title was with. That's really slowing things down a lot of times for them. And it was interesting asking him about the stock price. I guess when he started working there, my sense was he was kind of a operations manager level position in Hendersonville. When he started working, he got like $5,000 in reserve stock. And I think the price at that point was maybe in the low to mid $200 per share range. So his reserve stock, which I guess you need to work a year, I think, at the company before you can actually liquidate that, before it's liquid, before you can trade it or sell it. His $5,000 value of stock that he got when he started had dropped down to like a couple $100. So that was a little bit demoralizing for him, but he seemed confident, right? That, the business is humming along. He was confident that would, go back up to more encouraging levels in the not too distant future. So it was interesting to chat with him about the reserve stock situation. Now, a couple other things I want to touch on. I think I haven't dug into Carvana as an investment. Okay, so let that be your caveat. But my sense with Carvana is how they make money is not by selling used cars. How they make money is by financing used cars. So through the checkout process, there's an option to pay with cash, right? To just pay off the whole vehicle. That's what I did. There's also an option to pay monthly, right? To finance the car through Carvana. And this gets a little interesting. It says roughly 80% of customers finance with us. So 4 out of 5 Carvana customers use Carvana's financing. Now, here were the terms, and these weren't personalized to me. These were just kind of an estimate of financing terms based on average to excellent credit scores. Okay, average to excellent. So this is for folks who have on the, kind of upper half of credit scores. $0 down. Okay, nothing down. No skin in the game right out of the gate. 72-month loan. Okay, so a 6-year car loan, which seems a bit long for a car loan, but I don't know what the average is these days. It seems long for a 2010 Toyota Prius, okay, to have a 6-year car loan. Maybe with a new car that makes more sense. But anyway, those are the terms. 72-month loan, 10 to 18% APR, okay? These are credit card-like rates for these car loans through Carvana. So I found that very interesting, kind of subprime level loans here. And again, average to excellent credit scores. So I have no idea what these terms would be for customers of Carvana who didn't have such great credit, right? I'd be very interested to see the interest rates on those kind of loans. Yeah, so at the end of the day, I went through the whole process with Carvana. I was pleased. Again, the only places I wasn't 100% positive with was, that initial kind of bait and switch payment method. That annoyed me a little bit. When I got the first car delivered, the Prius C that was too small, there was a scratch kind of in the driver's side door that didn't show up on the photos on Carvana's website. So, and I guess the scratch wasn't big enough in order for Carvana to actually foot the bill for repairing those scratches. I kind of get it. I think repairing scratches on paint can be quite expensive. But it was a little frustrating that there was a scratch on the car that was clearly not in the photos. Another thing I'll say, there was a little chip in the windshield, and this was good. So I pointed it out to the guy who delivered my car. This is the second car, the one I'm actually keeping. There was a chip in the windshield. I pointed it out to him. He said, yeah, we'll have Safelite come and do the repair on it, no cost to you. I think, it's like a $200 repair if I were to go directly to Safelite and pay out of pocket to have that chip replaced. Of course, you can also make the argument the windshield shouldn't come with a chip in it right when I buy it. So, I think it was fair for them to repair it, but it was nice they didn't put up any kind of fight with that. It was all just, yep, we'll send the repair person out. It's on us. We're all good. So I was impressed with that as well. So my issues, the scratch on the car that didn't show up in the pictures, the bait and switch kind of payment method. And honestly, guys, that was it. Whenever I interacted with someone from Carvana on the phone, they were very, very friendly. Okay, excellent support staff there that I interacted with. Total cost for the car, you guys, it is a crazy used car market. For anyone who's tried to buy a car recently, this. It was about $16,600 for the car. 2010 Toyota Prius, 79,000 miles. Now, if I were to buy that car, say 3 or 4 years ago, I would guess I would have paid $10,000 to $12,000 for that car. Okay, so from $10,000 to $12,000 to $16,000, $17,000, just in this wonky market, it's absolutely insane. But I can't reverse time. I have to shop with what's available, and this was, I thought, the best kind of bang for my buck in terms of a used car that gave me what I needed it to do. So price, $16,600, tax, title, and registration, just about $600. The inspection, seriously, if you guys are ever thinking about buying a used car, spend the $150 to have it thoroughly inspected. There are so many things that can go wrong with the car, so many very expensive things. Make sure you know what you're buying. And then the property tax for North Carolina, $104. So when all is said and done, I put about $17,500 into this car, okay? And I'm happy. I'm a happy Carvana customer. I'm not considering buying the stock, to be honest. And the big reason for that, I think Monish Pabrai at one point was talking to Charlie Munger about Credit Acceptance Corp. And Monish explained a little bit about what Credit Acceptance Corp does, kind of subprime loans, I believe. I haven't looked into Credit Acceptance Corp. But right away, Charlie was like, I wouldn't invest in it. And the reason for that, Charlie just doesn't think it's a win-win to be kind of partnering with a business operating in that space of subprime loans. And you could argue, yeah, people with bad credit need car loans too, right? And that's a fair argument. I'm not going to push back against that. But it's not the kind of business that I want to be partnered with. There's some elements of predatory kind of nature there that's just what it feels like for me. So Carvana is an easy pass for me, but if you are invested or if you're thinking about investing, hopefully this video gave you some questions that need to be answered for yourself before you go further and make Carvana your business partner as an investor. So that's it, guys. And I'm sure I forgot things. If you have any other questions about my process or Carvana, ask them in the comments and I will tackle those. So hopefully this can be, a living, growing treatise on Carvana down in the comments. So anyway, guys, it's great to be back. It's great to be back here on YouTube. Thanks for not jumping ship. Thanks for having the patience as I took my siesta from YouTube, transitioning from California here to North Carolina. But I'm excited to make a bunch of content for you guys in the coming weeks, months, and years. So with that, I will see you all next time.